Hi guys, this is Noe again, and this time I'm talking about Deadly Kittens, who qualified from the Southeast Asia region to represent the region again. Obviously, as viewers, we know that Deadly Kittens represented that region for quite a while now in all the global events. So from the outside, it could look like they are pretty dominant and basically win all the tournaments and have no roster swaps. And maybe there's even just one team in that region because we just don't really know that much about Southeast Asia. But actually, if we look a little bit closer, it's actually quite interesting. The Deadly Kittens got picked up by Zenway Productions as a sponsor, and that part is also a bit surprising as well, because that's a company that's based in Singapore, as far as I understand, and the two players from Singapore actually left the team shortly after towards the Soul Torturers. The Taiwanese team that Tasdingo presented already on his channel. And so I guess the three Filipino players in Deadly Kittens quickly had to search for replacements, and they found two Koreans who are actually playing in the lineup now. Jinwoo and Confidence joined the team in the end of August. And obviously, it's not easy to create a new roster and suddenly be able to qualify for Blizzcon, but that actually worked for them, and we can briefly listen to Babel and Jeho discuss that point.
That was a dominant Deadly Kittens.
That was a
tournament,
dominant
to say
one,
the
exactly. That variation of Deadly Kittens had Mer, Zace stronger, NSJ, and ever. And what is happening here is that Mer and Zace, they have left for the Taiwanese region. We wish them all the best. They're going to be playing next weekend, I do believe. You can catch that on another stream. But replacing them are two Koreans, Confidence and Jinwoo. And despite a very disappointing first day performance today, I just saw them fired up.
That's what we saw in the early part of yesterday, and then when the pressure was on in the upper bracket finals yesterday, they stumbled a bit. They took some risk that I think their composition wasn't ready for, and that the enemy team had drafted well for on the side of Resurgence. That's why I think today maybe we'll see a little bit different approach from Deadly Kittens towards their draft and towards what Resurgence brings to the table. And Resurgence obviously been waiting, watching throughout the day, trying to see what their competition is going to be like. They get
Okay, that actually did happen. So Jeho was right. Deadly Kittens stopped playing a lot of mage-based composition, but adopted the double support meta a little bit more, and then they actually managed to come back through the lower bracket, and then won against Resurgence 2 times. That was a penalty for coming from the loser bracket, so they had to win 2 series, and they won both of them quite handily. So yeah, it's interesting that they obviously didn't have much time to prepare with the Koreans, but within that short period of time, they were able to improve quite a lot. At least that's the impression that we get, and then we will be interested in seeing how well they can do at BlizzCon. But first, let's also remember the past year. In the Eastern Clash, they actually had quite a hard time. In the first match, they had to play against MVP Black and lost straight away against them. But at least they got a map against CE, the strong Chinese team. So we can see that the Deadly Kittens are actually not a really weak team. They're a bit weaker than in the teams in the major region, but they actually might have a shot to take some of them out. And obviously, it's a bit harsh in the Eastern Clash, where you have the playoff system from the beginning, and you basically only play against the very strongest teams of the tournament. It's a bit less harsh at the mid-season brawl, where we have that group phase, and you have a couple of matches where you can prove yourself, and they actually managed to take a win against Nomia and against Super Perfect Team, the Chinese team. So yeah, they had 2 draws, 2 map wins is what they collected, and they looked actually quite strong. So that was obviously still the lineup with 2 players from Singapore. And we're gonna have to see how much stronger they might be able to perform at BlizzCon. But for now, we can briefly look at the first map against SPT at the mid-season brawl.
Ground to zone.
Next hook soon.
But was not able to land it. Next hook is very soon.
Oh.
It doesn't land. Completely whiffed there. Putrid Bile also dropped here as Simba just using it to clear the wave at this point.
Yeah. Putrid Bile down. Pretty important heroic.
Yeah. So Bells, here come the altars. This is lethal damage for Deadly Kittens, not lethal damage for Super
Whoa!
Team. And Zinzao,
Zinzao!
he goes down. There's
Void
the
Prison!
VP. And Deadly Kittens, they're setting up. Sanctification needs to be dropped.
Oh,
It is
nice
keeping them alive,
Sanctification.
but there's someone in the cocoon right now. That's a big look of damage.
Submerge!
In goes the Submerge. Ancestral landing on wings.
Dragon
Here
Blade!
goes Genji going in for Enevere. And he
Genji!
gets one. He goes for two. He gets two. Zaze is in full retreat.
Oh!
And Super Perfect Team coming up big, but Melly C getting chased down. Zaze has no help as well. If Melly C can get even these kills, they get the kill. It is now a 2 versus 3 in favor of Deadly Kittens. They need to split.
If he gets it! If he gets it!
It is denied for now. Zane's getting focused down. Now it is Stitch is getting
Stitch!
crashed in the
Whoa,
bot lane.
okay.
Stereo got it. Tyro's coming down. He's no mana.
He knows he
has
can't
it.
win.
He demounts it. He's not going to make it in time. And no,
Whoa!
started it, but he dies. Now they can only get it. They completely split up. And that is going to be GG. Deadly Kittens out of nowhere, taking the first game of this series. What a comeback.
One win for Deadly Kittens, one win for Ragnaros, and one...
Well, that was obviously quite chaotic in the end, but one has to hand it to the Deadly Kittens. They really played that quite well. At first, they disengaged against the hook attempt by Simba. Then they waited out the Putrid Bile, and then they really took the fight very well. They had the one-shot by Zeratul, then a great Void Prison, tried to combo with the Emerald Dream. No, the silence by Malfurion. But that one was countered by the sanctification. But anyway, we can see that the Kittens performed that quite well. They have very good team play. But the sad part, obviously, is the Zeratul who does the best job in that fight, I would say. He one-shots Falstad, has a great Void Prism, and then later on also takes a third kill so that they end up with one more player to end the game. That's Zaze, who obviously left for this Soul Torturer. So I think we can say that the Deadly Kittens look quite decent, but the question is how good they can perform with the inclusion of the 2 Korean players at BlizzCon. The group also looks quite strong. They have MVP Black, who are obviously one of the favorites for the tournament. And Tempo Storm didn't look as strong throughout the season, but now in the playoffs at the end of HGC NA, they improved quite a lot. So I think both of those teams should be hard to take out, but Tempo Storm may be a bit nervous with the home crowd in front of them. Maybe there's a small chance for Deadly Kittens, and it's similar against CE. CE might have some visa issues, so Deadly Kittens obviously aren't the favorites to get out of that group, but they certainly have a chance, and yeah, I'm looking forward to see them. I hope they bring some special strategies, which they normally did. They always showed nice games, and yeah, we will see how much they can accomplish at BlizzCon.